You're watching The Big Deal. After firing dozens of immigration judges, the Federal Department of Justice announced that it is loosening requirements to hire more temporary immigration judges amid a massive backlog in cases. The need for judges is urgent. The union who represents immigration judges has reported that close to 15% of them have accepted buyouts or not been renewed or been fired by the Trump administration. Spectrum News reporter Eric Feldman spoke to one of those fired judges who says that she fears the immigration court system is being set up to fail.
New York City has become one of the epicenters for the debate that has captured the country. Immigration and the rise in deportations.
I'll say it again, sanctuary cities are sanctuaries for criminals.
But the voices we rarely hear from, the hundreds of people hired to decide the nearly 4 million pending immigration cases, the judges.
It's been pretty brutal since January.
Until a few weeks ago, Jennifer Payton was the supervisory judge for Chicago's immigration courts.
I don't know why I was fired, but I do know why I wasn't fired. I wasn't fired for cause.
She got an email while she was on vacation July 3rd that she was done. The Department of Justice told New York One it does not discuss personnel matters. In September 2024, the total number of immigration judges was 735, according to the federal government. This chart from the Department of Justice indicates this summer there were 685 judges, but that number may actually be significantly lower. There are only 608 judges with active online hearing rooms, which Payton says is a requirement for judges. And the National Association of Immigration Judges says it has tracked more than 100 who have either left or been let go since President Trump's inauguration.
If you have a 3.8 million backlog, should you fire 100 judges since January?
Another former immigration judge in the Northeast who was fired this year spoke to New York One in a phone call, but asked us not to use her name as she feared additional professional consequences. She said her backlog of hearings in recent months had gone from 1 month long to as far as 2027. According to a breakdown from the American Immigration Council, the recently passed federal budget bill provides $170 billion in additional funding to immigration and border enforcement. Funding for detention capacity, border wall and checkpoint upgrades, and enforcement and removal account for $126.5 billion, or about 75%. For prosecutions of non-citizens, including for immigration judges, $3.3 billion, or just under 2%.
Well, what does that tell you about the importance that this administration places on the judges hearing these applications?
That's part of the problem. The number of pending immigration cases hasn't helped either. Federal data collected by the organization Track indicates the backlog has been increasing substantially each of the last 3 presidents. It went from just over 344,000 to 500,000 during President Obama's second term, up to 1.26 million at the end of the first Trump administration, and up to 3.7 million by the end of the Biden presidency. So a bigger backlog, fewer judges, and more enforcement is making it harder in the courts, according to former judges New York One is consulted with. And while the budget bill allows for the number of judges to go up to 800, it's not clear how quickly judges will be hired, a process that can take months, even a year, according to a former immigration judge. We reached out to the Department of Justice, but they declined to comment on that.
I fear that due process is being violated and that justice is being kicked to the curb.
Payton says part of that comes from what she says has been a pressure campaign from the Trump administration on specific cases. New York One's cameras have documented the current deportation process at the federal courthouse at 26 Federal Plaza in Lower Manhattan. It's where undocumented people have their immigration cases dismissed and are often immediately taken into ICE custody inside the courthouse, a legal move called expedited removal that has been utilized by the Trump administration to detain people who illegally entered the United States within the past 2 years.
Sir, let's go. Sir. Sir.
One immigration lawyer tells New York One it nearly guarantees they end up deported.
There's a baby. There's a baby.
That fired immigration judge in the Northeast says she never felt pressure from the Trump administration to dismiss cases to trigger that expedited removal process. But Payton says her judges felt differently because of what she received in late May.
I think that email was definitely pressure.
She's referring to this May 30th email, which says motions to dismiss may be made orally and decided from the bench, that a 10-day response period is not required. Both could move these cases faster.
I felt the pressure that this was an email using the words may, but really felt like a should.
The Department of Justice declined to answer New York One's questions about this email. But when it comes to Peyton, why not speak out before now? She says she wanted to keep what she called her dream job.
I still felt that I was doing the right thing every day. I went into work and I applied the law and to the facts in front of me, and I adjudicated those cases on the merits.
And now she's planning to sue the Trump administration for her firing.
Eric Feldman joins me now with more on all of this. And walk us through what the Justice Department is doing to try and bring more immigration judges online.
So they announced yesterday a new rule where they are going to be allowing temporary immigration judges to be hired, and they cited the backlog that we have been seeing for many, many years. The concern that the union brought up, they said, look, if you're hiring qualified people, we're all for it. But their concern is, who are you going to be bringing in? They're worried it may not be people who are qualified to be immigration judges. And the question I have is, if you just let go of all these immigration judges, you're citing the backlog problems. Why are you now rushing to hire all these temporary judges? Should you have maybe not fired all those people?
Sure. And if the number is down as far as you've sort of reported on, even in a best case scenario, if they got it back up to 800, that's still more than 4,600 cases per judge.
Yeah, and that's simply not doable. I mean, judges that I've talked to say that on average they hear 3 cases a day. So the more that the backlog grows, it's not like they can just hear more cases. They only have time for 3 hearings every day.
Did any of the fired judges tell you that they were under pressure to rule a certain way in their cases?
As former Judge Peyton talked about in the piece, she felt like this letter that came out in May from the Justice Department was some pressure to try to move cases faster. She said the other issue that she heard from some of the judges that reported to her in Chicago is that when you see all these other people being fired or let go or taking buyouts, that's adding pressure to them as well. They feel like underhandedly maybe the administration is saying, look, if you don't follow what we want, you may be let go next.
And so if we look at the overall budget, it was really quite striking in the graphic that you had that over $170 billion for, enforcement and detention centers and so forth, and then only a couple of $1 billion, meaning less than, 3% for the actual immigration judges to sort of adjudicate all of this. Is it fair to say that the real policy here is sort of walls and deportation as opposed to figuring out people's cases?
I mean, it seems like that's been the focus from the Trump administration, from the campaign to now. This is what they've been talking about, getting more people out of the country. But when you talk to immigration experts and attorneys, what they'll say is that this is a complicated problem that has been decades not solved correctly. And the backlog of cases is evidence of that.
Okay. Thank you, Eric Feldman. Great reporting. Thank you for watching our YouTube channel. Let Spectrum News be your resource for balanced, in-depth political coverage, and click the subscribe button right here. You can also download our app or watch us on TV to learn more about the candidates, where they stand on the issues, and more. We'll see you then.